Sharon is in the house.
Hey!
Sharon is a professional matchmaker.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. It's amazing. Where to begin? We have actually we have one single guy up there, and we have one guy in a loving long-term relationship. Is that correct to say?
Affirmative.
Affirmative.
Okay, wonderful.
And I'm happily married. I don't have my ring actually. How is business in the matchmaking world with Tinder and everything like that? How are things going?
It's fantastic. And
Is
actually, when people say about Tinder and run it down, Tinder is great. You know, to a certain extent, you get out there, it brings up your confidence. You start seeing what it's like, seeing who's out there, building up your confidence. Confidence is everything.
And business for you, like with matchmaking, I suppose, is a kind of a traditional thing in a way.
Yeah.
And how is that like? How does that work in the world of technology?
Because Tinder and people meet people and they're not the height. Guys lie about two things: their height and their bank account.
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew it was money.
Yeah.
Alan's sitting up there.
Yeah. And women lie about.
I used to lie about it all the time, yeah.
You what?
I used to lie about my height.
And then you grew up.
Well, you used to got really big shoes, like. I'm not sure.
I was talking about your
heels.
personality there. And then and women lie about their weight and their age. So they're the two things women lie about: their weight and their age.
Okay, so you come, somebody like Dylan comes along to you and says, I want to meet somebody.
Okay, so
I'm fed up with the internet, maybe.
Yeah. So what I do is I meet and I go through his
Hello.
profile and he's so sweet. I could easy man.
He's a legend.
And I link like with like down to hobbies, interests, background, qualities.
And now what about opposite attracts now? You know,
that's
you say
rubbish.
Is it?
It is. Now you can have opposite hobbies.
Yeah.
But the more things you have in common, the easier it is to get on. Okay. And when you think about it, you know, when you meet people, no matter what walk of life you're in, and they say, "Oh, I did Kilimanjaro." Okay, just out of you know, and they say, "Really, I've actually done Glendalough." You know, but you know,
they're outdoorsy things.
Yeah, outdoorsy
okay.
things. So the more you have in common, the easier it is. But you don't have to be in each other's footsteps all the time.
Yeah,
it's like
a bit of space. So the Dylan comes to you, he sits down, he says, "Look, I want to meet somebody." Dylan, would you be willing to say what type of woman you were interested here right now?
What if I were to say like I'm very self-obsessed, you know, stuff like that. You don't want to tell you any of the negative stuff. So you ever get your clients to tell you some of the negative stuff?
He's after doing there. He's after deflecting there now. I asked him a question. He's after just totally changing.
Well, he did that very
well. He actually did it very well.
So you were a politician in your last life.
I was.
Yeah. So we take Dylan because he's single, and he comes in to you and he says, "What type of lady do you want to meet?" He's been single a good few years
actually,
now.
first
you know, like it was a secret. You're on the telly.
First, you'd have to find out about Dylan because, and what you find out is that Dylan, if I look at him, I'd say it's obvious he's a joker. He's a bit of a laugh. He wants an outgoing person. He wants, you know, someone.
He's an actor. He's been in Game of Thrones.
I didn't know
Does
that.
add a little bit?
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
So, you know, within a short while, I kind of even pick up the essence of the person that would suit Dylan.
Yeah.
And then after that, when he's describing the lady, he won't even realise this. And this is where, you know, opposites don't attract, because he'll go for the same as him. Yeah. So he'll say, you know, someone's a bit of a get up and go, someone who loves gigs, someone who loves being out there, someone who loves communicating with loads of others, someone who, if he walked into a pub and she was beside him, he wouldn't have to look after her. She'd be well able to look after herself.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so that kind of character would suit. Whereas when they say opposites attract, now it's once people have confidence and they know themselves, you can matchmake them. But if they don't know themselves, there's no point matchmaking them. So people have to get to the root of themselves and know.
And is there tricks, like, if somebody is struggling and the whole thing, is there tricks that he can get, you know, to boost the confidence?
Absolutely. Practice. That's the best trick out there. Get out there and don't be afraid of being... The thing that stops everyone is fear. Don't be afraid of someone saying, you know, you're not good enough for me. They have a little punchline back, or if someone is rude to you. So what happens in the pubs now, people are so blunt.
Yeah.
And because the girls go out in groups of 5 and it's very hard to break into that group until people have too much to drink. Then you're breaking in at the wrong stage.
So you're saying you're saying get out there. Get stuck in.
Yeah, get stuck in. And then, you know,
But you set up a date, you set up a date with people. So he comes along, do we set him up with a date?
When with the matchmaker.ie, I meet him, go through his profile, link like with like down to as many things as possible.
Yeah.
And introduce him to the person.
Okay.
I would pass her number when they both agree on each other's profile.
Okay.
I pass her number to him, because I think it's always nice that the gentleman calls first.
Okay.
So
Traditional.
Traditional.
I like that.
You know, there are some old-fashioned things.
No,
like men are hunters at the end of the day.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
There's no testosterone in this room at all.
and it's important that you do a bit of the hunting and be the gentleman.
And do you tell them like where to go? Do you tell them what restaurant to go to?
Chivalry does work.
Absolutely.
It does count a lot.
Even if it's just bringing a chocolate, you know, and the chocolate would have cost you 10 cents, or just say, you know, I was thinking of you.
Girls like chocolate like that on the first
date. It's not about
bring them a tray.
It's not about the chocolate. It's about the gesture.
Okay,
right.
So a kind gesture. And women like, say if they're getting the bus home, the dart home, the Lewis, the taxi, whatever, a guy who walks them to the job. It's the most it's such a simple little thing.
Yeah,
guys don't
Alan
do
there
it.
probably went on how many dates, online dates would you have gone to?
Serial there. I'd say 50 maybe.
I
think that
through what? Tinder or
through Plenty of Fish.
Okay, so it worked. You met.
And that got my confidence up as well. And then I was able to infiltrate the groups of 5 then.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. Breaking in.
No, I would like if I'd say if I brought a girl chocolate on the first date, an Irish girl.
Yeah.
She would roar laughing at you.
Do you know and when she's talking to her friends, what would she
That's
say?
the thing,
He brought me a chocolate. She might laugh at it there and then, but afterwards,
But that might be nervous laughter then.
That guy got in there. He got into my heart.
You see, he's a great man for the presents. You were saying that, but you're a great man for the little gifts to people. I'm pointing at you, Alan. Yeah, you love that. Well, I know you bring over the gifts to people, like the marmalade and stuff like that. No? No? You're going to leave me hanging there with that one?
Yeah, well, on the
I'm
first
going to skip on the dinner.
You couldn't arrive in with a jar of marmalade on the first day.
You could say
You look like a hearty girl.
You could say, do you cook it as well as that?
I would agree with you. I'd always walk her to the bus.
Yeah.
Things like that, or walk her to the taxi. Maybe take me into the taxi even do that.
I dated a Russian girl once, and I walked her to Lewis and put her on the Lewis and sent her away. And then I met her the next time, and she went to me, do you know, in Russia, every time you meet a girl on the first date, you walk her all the way to her front door. And I was thinking, what? So I was supposed to get on the Lewis, go out to where you live, walk you to the front door, and then just go home? Like, that's what they expected.
Yeah, that's a
so we've got him. You've kind of sussed him out now, and you might have somebody on the books even. And now he has to come on. We might do something where he comes on the books, like actually, because I think that could be an interesting experiment.
Or will we? Yeah.
Would you do that?
We're talking about. I do it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, like, we're already gonna do.
Well, we did talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. No, I would. I'd do it. Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
I've been single for a few years.
But so, what type of a date though? Do you just go for a drink?
No, you always go for dinner.
No,
We've got a professional in the house here.
I actually think, you know, what's the point going to dinner, sitting opposite someone where there's no spark chemistry or anything? You go for a drink, and it can be coffee, it can be a glass of wine, it can be beer, whatever you're drinking. You go for a drink, and then you're not thinking, oh, is he using his cutlery, or is he? Oh, look at the way he's eating, or you look. And it's about communication, so you look straight into each other's eyes, and you get more vibe from that few seconds. And it's not so much what you say; it's what you don't say, and the way you communicate visually, and the way you sit, and the way you lean towards them, and the way you get that eye contact and get that feeling, or even touching their arm.
Yeah, what about that? Touching,
touching is nice, but it's not sleazy. Like
it's just it's the connection. Okay.
How important is booze, do you think, on the first date? I think
that's what it's touching.
That's a good question.
That is, you know, what I say to ladies: get to know the head before the bed. So when too much booze comes into it, you lose the head.
Yeah.
So, you know, keep it to max 2 drinks just to get to know them. And because women are very emotional, more emotional than men. They go, oh, I loved him, he was fabulous. Yeah. And men are kind of more take it easy, but they might like get her into the sack or whatever, or that kind of thing. So if they, you know, if say there's chemistry there and there's something there, sometimes you just go with the flow. Yeah. Other times you just say, and this is to women. I had a guy 35 who signed up the other day, and he said, "Listen, I go into house, I go into 37, I go into," and honestly, you can pick someone up just like that and take them home.
Okay, so this guy wanted to meet somebody.
He said, I want a real relationship. I want someone who is going to be committed. I want someone who will take relationships seriously.
And Dylan, are you looking for that now? Can I ask you that? Do you mind me asking you that?
I suppose at this stage of my life, yes, Frank.
You are?
I'd be looking for something a bit more serious.
Yes. Brilliant.
Now, I know I'm drinking a beer now, but generally I don't drink at the moment. I find that really hard with dating now since I stopped really drinking here in Ireland. Yeah. Because we're all used to a bit of a liquid sort of, alright, take the nerves off, take that edge off to have a chat. So without drinking, I find it really difficult to even meet anyone.
Well, why don't you have one then and stop?
Yeah, but what if you didn't want to have any?
That's okay, don't have any then. But she's not going to no, do you know, there are, I actually had a doctor on my books, and she liked her glass of wine, and she actually said, because I work so hard and my time off and I like my glass of wine, I actually like a guy who drinks as well. Yeah. She said, I did date someone, and I get them on most unusual things.
Essential, I think. Yeah. Jesus, I don't know if I'd be married to somebody.
Would you put a non-drinker with a
if
drinker?
they were acceptable for each other, because some, like...
You tell them beforehand, though.
Yeah, I tell them beforehand. They'd see it in the profile. But I had a guy the other day who I was putting him on a date, and he says, does she own her own house? And I thought, he's a bit materialistic. I can't believe he asked me that. Yeah. And I said, actually she does. And he says, okay, I won't date her because I don't own my place and I don't want her. So this is about matchmaking. Yeah, this is about, as the matchmaker.ie, I have to get as
matchmaker.ie, let's just get that in there again, matchmaker.ie.
I didn't get it there. Yeah. The matchmaker.ie.
Yeah, because I couldn't find it earlier. Yeah, the matchmaker.ie. And 80% success rate.
It is.
That's pretty damn good.
That's amazing.
Now, how much do you charge?
I charge $5.50 for 3 introductions. Okay. So the first introduction, I'd have about 20% success rate, and that's because I'm getting to know the client. Yeah. They go out on the date, they come back and they say, do you know what, he's too wild for me, or she was too quiet for me. And then so second time I get a bit closer to the vibe of the two people and get to know more about where they're coming from. Second time round, they go out and hopefully this chemistry, you know, it's all down to it's down to that chemistry as well. So second time they go out and it's higher, but 80%
is pretty good.
Yeah. Now what I mean by the first date is when they go on their first date, it's an introduction.
You're not talking marriage now.
No.
Have you a percentage on marriage?
I have a lot, like I've got people who come back who send me photos of their babies and you know they're together, and I couldn't actually work out a percentage because when they're dating, like
that's just the stat person
I got a photo of a couple that I set up 3 years ago, and they met in the Bailey, and they took a photo 3 years later of themselves in the Bailey and said,
that's a nice part of the job.
Can I say one thing? There's a great quote from a comedian, Louis C.K., and he says, like, basically you're never yourself on a first date anyway, as men are just like cardboard cutouts of all the people that they want to be, you know, where you're like, oh yes, it's very interesting, I believe in that, and you just say whatever it is that the girl wants to hear.
They say if you really like someone, you do that anyway. You try to empathise with them and be as close to them as possible.
If it's there, it's there. It's called
mirroring.
Because we're trying to be really efficient. We are going to... We'll have a chat about that. We'll chat and we'll see, is there an angle on this, and to see, can you take him on as a client?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. Sharon, amazing.
TheMatchmaker.ie. Get off Tinder, get onto TheMatchmaker.ie.